Ladies and gentlemen, here we are with a special episode of The Benny Show. Breaking news now. 30 federal agents have raided Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago home here in Florida, Palm Beach, West Palm Beach to be exact, on a little idyllic island in West Palm Beach sits Mar-a-Lago, a historic, very famous, very beautiful club. I've been there a number of times myself. I know members there. I've interviewed Donald Trump there, and I have been to many fundraisers there. It is a mecca for conservatism in our state and in America, and the FBI stormed into Mar-a-Lago and raided Mar-a-Lago. Today, we have all of the breaking news here in front of us. We are live. We are testing out new systems. So please bear with us as we bring you the breaking news, breaking less than 1 hour ago. A lot of things are happening now simultaneously. A lot of information is coming through the pipeline. Dangerous times ahead. You are in the fourth turning. You are in, ladies and gentlemen, the end game of the regime, and we will show you exactly what they have planned. But most importantly, we have picked up our phone and we have made phone calls. We are, as we said, very familiar with Mar-a-Lago. We are very good friends with many people who work with Donald Trump, who worked for Donald Trump, who currently work for Donald Trump, who are attempting to make sense of this themselves and who are planning Donald Trump's 2024 race. We have been on the phones, burning up our lines for the last hour as soon as this information hit, because we are furious. We are enraged. This is Gestapo tactics. This is what the Stasi would do. These are the tactics of the 1917 Marxists in Russia, in Soviet Russia, to intimidate and to crush the civil liberties of their political opponents. It is a tried and true method of humiliation, degradation of the rule of law, and then authoritarian fascistic rule. Mark my words, ladies and gentlemen, this will not ever be forgotten by the American people. You have, in so doing this, sealed your own fate if you are a member of the national security state or the FBI. This is an overreach that the American people will never forget. Trump supporters will never forget. There are 100 million Trump supporters in this nation of 300,000. How do we get to that number? Well, you have 80 million of them voting for Donald Trump. And if you go to any truck stop anywhere in the country, some of these people, they may not vote. They still support Donald Trump. At the very least, you have 100 million Donald Trump supporters in this country. A third of the country favor this man for president in 2024, you can say. And by raiding his house and by harassing him once more, again and again and again, you have enraged that group. The Leviathan has woken up. The Leviathan is awakened. I am looking through the comments right now. I am seeing so much seething and so much anger. This is making people support Donald Trump 10x more. It is going to have a boomerang effect. It is going to be the Mitch McConnell, Harry Reid effect. Harry Reid said he's getting rid of the filibuster for judicial nominations so that they could get a short-term win. This is a short-term win. And Mitch McConnell, I'm not trying to compliment the guy, but he said, you'll regret this. And look at this. Now we live inside of a world where Roe v. Wade has been overturned. He made them regret it. 200 plus Republicans and conservatives on the federal bench, plus 3 Supreme Court justices, all because of Harry Reid. They will regret this action. Ladies and gentlemen, we are hot on this channel tonight. We are angry on this channel tonight. Here is the breaking news as reported by Fox News. This is a clips show, so we are going to leave the commentary to many of the hosts. We will play you the clips. Again, we are testing out a new system here, and so bear with us, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. The breaking news from Fox News. This is Tucker Carlson's show. He has a fill-in guest who I think is doing a spectacular job. Here we go.
Raided the home of the former president, Donald Trump, in Palm Beach, Florida. Donald Trump announced the raid in a statement, and Fox News has confirmed that the raid occurred. Quote, "These are dark times for our nation," said the former president, "at my beautiful home, Mar-a-Lago, in Palm Beach, Florida. It is currently under siege, raided, and occupied by a large group of FBI agents. Trump wrote, "Nothing like this has ever happened to a president of the United States before." Trump said the raid was unannounced, amounts to, quote, prosecutorial misconduct, the weaponization of the justice system, and an attack by the radical left Democrats who desperately do not want me to run for president in 2024, especially based on recent polls. Trump said agents also broke into his safe. Former President Donald Trump concluded his statement noting that Hillary Clinton, quote, was allowed to delete and acid wash 33,000 emails after they were subpoenaed by Congress, but the DOJ did nothing about that. The New York Times is reporting tonight that the search is, quote, focused on material that Mr. Trump had brought with him to Mar-a-Lago, his private club and residence, after he left the White House. Those boxes allegedly contained many pages of classified documents, according to a person familiar with their contents. The Times continued, quote, Mr. Trump delayed returning 15 boxes of material requested by officials with the National Archives for many months, only doing so when there became a threat of action being taken to retrieve them. Fox News has confirmed that per standard protocol, FBI Director Wray and Attorney General Garland were aware of the raid before it occurred. However you characterize what happened in the United States of America today, this is a defining moment, a seminal moment, a partisan moment, one that generations will look back on and ask, was this a moment we broke apart or we were able to come together? And the answer to that question will be the questions we ask tonight. Was there an evidentiary basis? Was there a legal basis? Or was this a partisan witch hunt? To begin that conversation, I'll start with Fox's Mike Emanuel, who is standing by with the latest. Mike.
Well, good evening. Fox News has learned from a source close to the former president that Mr. Trump was in New York City at Trump Tower when he learned about the FBI raid of his Mar-a-Lago home. The New York Times is reporting that federal authorities appear to be focused on material former President Trump brought with him from the White House to his home in Palm Beach, Florida. That published report cites a person familiar that the raid began this morning and notes the former president delayed returning those 15 boxes of material requested by officials with the National Archives for months. Fox News is working to confirm all of those details. Fox News has confirmed the raid of former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago home with a law enforcement source familiar with the search warrant. Per standard protocol, Attorney General Merrick Garland and FBI Director Chris Wray were aware of this, have been fully briefed, and will continue to be. The former president announced the raid a short time ago, earlier this evening, calling this dark times for our nation. Someone in Palm Beach, Florida is being raided and, quote, occupied by a large group of FBI agents. Mr. Trump called the raid unannounced and says it was not necessary or appropriate, in arguing that such an assault could only take place in broken third world countries.
Yes.
The former president said
yes.
Federal authorities broke into a safe. The search comes after numerous televised hearings on Capitol Hill looking into the events of January 6, 2021, and more questioning for Trump administration officials by the Justice Department regarding the events after the 2020 election in the final weeks of the former president's time in office. It's not entirely clear why today was chosen to launch the FBI raid, the former president calling it political targeting at the highest level, comparing this to former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, but noting nothing has happened to hold her accountable. Will?
Mike, I'd love to follow up.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so that is the breaking news report. I know it's a little bit of a long one there, but we think it's important to lay out the facts and get you a breaking news report. Now, we have been burning up our cell phones, calling the people that we know inside of the administration and saying, hey, you need to educate us as to what is going on right now in Mar-a-Lago and tell us the inside scoop. So we have been on the phone. So that is what's being reported in the corporate news. We have further information as to what is happening. All right. And we are aware of a couple of new things that are breaking behind the scenes. Now, I'm about to play you a clip from Steve Bannon, and I'm going to play you a clip from Lara Trump that were on and doing interviews quickly after this. Steve Bannon, I think, is an absolute must stick around for. Steve Bannon talks about exactly who gave the order and how it is impossible that Joe Biden didn't know about this. And more importantly, I have a clip from Joe Biden just a couple of weeks ago on Jimmy Kimmel's show saying, I'm going to put people in jail. So what did Joe Biden know? Is the regime overreaching? Is this when Atlas shrugged? And the answer is yes. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is happening. This is what's going on. And by the way, keep commenting. We're going to be putting comments up that we see and that we think are interesting. We're going to be putting comments on screen. Follow along because we have a bombshell of a show for you. Steve Bannon and Lara Trump coming up. But most importantly and first, what do the people close to Donald Trump think about this, and what are they saying? So I called 3 people over the last hour. All of them you know. None of them I said I would out on a live. So you can just pretty much guess who the people I'm regularly interviewing and bringing on the show, and the people that I'm in photographs with on Instagram. But the point of the matter is that these are the people who are constructing the nucleus of security around Donald Trump and who are constructing the presumptive next Donald Trump term in office. What's going on here? So one important thing to note. Mar-a-Lago, which you can see right up here. This is Mar-a-Lago. This is a photo of Mar-a-Lago right there. Big, like beautiful place. Mar-a-Lago is closed. It closes for the summer. There is not an open restaurant. There are not tanning beds that are open. There aren't little old grannies with cocktails by the pool, and they have a beautiful pool there. There is no one staying there as a guest, and no one is dining and having dinner as the FBI storm in. It's not like a Hollywood movie. Mar-a-Lago is shuttered right now, so it's closed. So this is very important to note. So it's not like the FBI fought with Dan Scavino or with Kash Patel or with Rick Grinnell or with anyone inside of the Trump orbit. Melania Trump wasn't being thrown, out of her bubble bath. This wasn't happening. No one is there. There is virtually no staff at the property right now. It is Donald Trump's home. Donald Trump registered Mar-a-Lago as his residence. So this is technically Trump's home. So while it functions as a club and a social club, this is where Trump lives. This is where his possessions are. This is where he sleeps, except in this season. In this season, Trump goes to Bedminster, New Jersey, where he has a secondary home on a golf course. Trump is currently in Bedminster, New Jersey, and was at Trump Tower in New York when this happened. You all know Trump Tower, the golden escalator, Trump traveling down to announce his presidential run, famous forever in American politics. This is what's going on right now, ladies and gentlemen. Donald Trump is in New York. Donald Trump is staying at Bedminster in New Jersey, where his golf club is. Mar-a-Lago has been shuttered for the season. No doubt there were a few maids there, perhaps some maintenance people, and they would be shocked. Que tal? Hola. Si se puede, when the FBI agents stormed in. The FBI agents forcibly entered Mar-a-Lago to go through Donald Trump's personal affects. What were they looking for? According to the New York Times, they were looking for classified information that Donald Trump had taken from the White House. How do we know this? Well, sources have told the New York Times that this is what was going on. Do we necessarily believe them? Well, we're not exactly sure about the New York Times. We certainly don't trust all of their reporting. However, this is what Fox News' White House reporter, Jackie Heinrich, had to say on Twitter. I will resize this so that you can read it yourself, but I will read it here along with you. Per sources familiar, this is related to the taking of potential classified information upon leaving Washington, D.C. in January 2020, not January 6th investigation. Fox is told at this point that about taking potential classified information, and at this point, not related to January 6th, DOJ has declined to comment. So why is this relevant? This is relevant because there is so much surrounding January 6th, and these raids have been happening with regular Americans. They have been going into Trump administration officials' houses, including people who worked at Trump's Justice Department, to raid them and to essentially harass them for their documents, cell phones, data. Brian Kilmeade, you all know him from Fox, stand-up dude, a nice person. I can tell you this. I just spoke with Eric Trump. Nothing is in the safe. They broke into Donald Trump's safe. What the literal hell? What absolute tyrannical third world bullshit? They broke into Donald Trump's safe, according to Eric Trump. FBI agents raided on behalf of the National Archives. This is outrageous. President or someone inside of the White House, Jack Posobiec, reporting that the White House has been cheering. Reporters said that they heard cheers from the West Wing of the White House when this happened. Again, all of this breaking news. Third world bullshit. Where does it come from? Look at this man. Look at this. Look at this bleary-eyed, diseased, syphilitic cretin. Listen to his words. This was from 5 weeks ago on a Jimmy Kimmel hit that was inside of Blue Los Angeles with Jimmy Kimmel's NPC, microwave brain, drooling audience. And Joe Biden could barely keep it together. Joe Biden could barely speak words. Jimmy Kimmel had to cut to multiple commercial breaks in order to help Joe Biden when he lost himself. So inside of the most advantageous environment for Joe Biden, he couldn't pull himself together. But Joe Biden did say one thing, and he meant to say it. Listen to this. Joe Biden predicting the raid on Donald Trump's home. Listen carefully.
Republicans don't play square. Why do you play square?
Yeah.
Well, what? If we do this thing they do, our democracy will literally be in jeopardy.
Well,
It's not a joke.
and I understand that argument, but also it's like you're playing Monopoly with somebody who, won't pass go and won't follow any of the rules. And how do you ever make any progress if they're not following the rules?
We got to send them to jail.
Oh, gotta send them to jail, says Joe Biden. What do we do with people who aren't playing the same game that we want them to play? What do we do with people who aren't bending over and licking our boots and pledging fealty to the national security state? What do we do with the people who are not bending to our will and are not worshiping the machine? Gotta send them to jail. That's exactly what Joe Biden said. That's exactly what Joe Biden said. Christopher Wray testified before the Senate just this last week. He knew this was going to happen. Christopher Wray knew this was going to happen. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are. Okay, so what has happened here on Fox? We have a historic moment, probably the first time in the history that on Fox News, the words bullshit have been broadcast twice in a row. I'm about to show you history here from our friend Dan Bongino, who was on Fox and was losing his damned mind. Dan Bongino himself was a former Secret Service agent, and Dan Bongino himself has served many decades in law enforcement. He protected Barack Obama, and Dan Bongino is somebody who knows deeply the interworkings of the FBI and the Secret Service and the White House and security around them and security around presidents. And so Dan Bongino is angrier than I've ever seen him. You are about to witness history, 2 uncensored bullshits, well-deserved, broadcast on Fox.
Bongino, the host of Unfiltered on Saturday nights. Dan, your quick emotional reaction. I think everyone's a little emotional here about this raid.
Yeah, I mean, you think this is some third world bull here. Let me say it again, third world bullshit. I mean, every word of that. I don't care that it's cable news. I was a federal agent. I raised my right hand, and I swore to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States, and I love this country. This is a freaking disgrace. A disgrace. We don't live in Cuba. We don't live under Kim Jong-un. We live in a constitutional republic, a representative democracy. You have a bunch of FBI agents raiding the home of a former president because they don't like his politics? Are you kidding me?
Ladies and gentlemen, I've never seen Bongino that angry. My team sent me the censored version. We do like to have a family-friendly show on here. However, there are times when adults and angry men need to simply say what they mean and need to reflect the emotion of the American people right now. And the emotion of the American people right now is rage. People are furious People are furious. Here's what the people have been telling us inside of Trump's team and inside of the Trump orbit. So they told us that Mar-a-Lago is empty. But this is what we've heard from various members of the Trump orbit who have defended Donald Trump, who have defended him in court, who have defended him in various different organs of the federal establishment, and who have defended Donald Trump to the letter, even after his presidency, and will definitely be part of his second term. What our sources tell us is that and I asked my team for the uncensored version of Bongino saying bullshit. But before I show you this, and before I show you Steve Bannon, because what Steve Bannon's clip is absolutely essential. What the people are telling us that know Donald Trump and that are working for Donald Trump right now about this is that this is an act of political desperation. That's an exact quote. This is a panic attack by the regime. They thought that they could get Trump with the PP dossier. They thought that they could get Trump with Russiagate. They thought Mueller could get Trump. They thought that Senate investigation. They thought impeachment, Ukraine, phone calls. They thought January 6th would get him and would be the heel. Next impeachment, 2 impeachments. What's next? Well, then we'll do the January 6th committee. That's what they thought. And they slithered on their bellies and they gnawed like rats at this man. And he kept marching forward. He kept moving forward. He kept pushing forward. And just this last weekend, he held a rally inside of Wisconsin. I can't remember the exact name. The team can tell me the exact name of the city. He held a rally inside of Wisconsin. The crowd was of historic proportions. Donald Trump has more energy now than he did in 2016. And so what our sources inside of Trump, he said, Washika, it's in Washika, Wisconsin. Of course it's in Washika, Wisconsin. What our sources tell us is that this is the administrative state and the machine raging against Donald Trump. They are attempting to stage a preemptive coup against the man. That is what's happening. This is a preemptive coup against Donald Trump, and that is precisely what Dan Bongino says. Here, we'll play you the uncensored clip here. I asked my team for it.
Dan Bongino, the host of Unfiltered.
We don't live under Kim Jong-un.
Emotional reaction. I think everyone's a little emotional here about this raid.
Yeah, I mean, you think? This is some third world bullshit right here. Let me say it again. Third world bullshit. I mean every word of that. I don't care that it's cable news. I was a federal agent. I raised my right hand, and I swore to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States, and I love this country. This is a freaking disgrace. A disgrace. We don't live in Cuba. We don't live under Kim Jong-un. We live in a constitutional republic, a representative democracy. You have a bunch of FBI agents raiding the home of a former president because they don't like his politics? Are you kidding me? You spent this whole show, Jesse, and I've spent my entire time either on Fox or on my podcast exposing the left for claiming Russia interference as Hillary Clinton paid off a bunch of foreign agents, her team literally to fabricate a story that occupied the nation for 4 years. What's she doing right now? Getting a manicure in freaking Chappaqua. She's not doing squat. Nothing. Hunter Biden is having sex on tape while doing crack. And what is he doing? He's living in a Malibu mansion. And yet the president, the former president, who whether you agree with him or not on his claims about the election, whether you agree or not, we still live in a country where you are allowed to challenge an election. There's even a process, the ECA, the Electoral Count Act. You may not like it, But it's a process. How do I know it's a process? Because some people are trying to reform it. You may not like it, but now you send the FBI. Let me tell you something. I have paid due deference to the FBI for a long time, and a lot of listeners didn't like it because I work with some very good people over there who've since retired. The management of the FBI has now shredded any shred sliver of credibility this agency had left. Nobody will take them seriously from this point on. It is over. You've heard the examples. Stone, Manafort, Cohen, over and over. Are they good guys? Are they bad guys? I don't know. I don't care. I don't know them. All I'm telling you is you cannot tell me we still live in a constitutional republic and not the freaking third world when you have Hillary Clinton paying foreign agents to interfere in an election, people lying under oath repeatedly, Hunter Biden doing crack on tape. And what happens? Where are the federal agents? They're not in Malibu. They're not in Chappaqua. They're in Mar-a-Lago. This is some third world garbage that happened tonight. And I'm telling you, the FBI management, solution, last thing. We have now got to win in 2022. You have no choice now, folks.
Yes.
Oh, we don't like the swampy Republicans. I don't like them either. Republicans may not be the solution to your problems, but Democrats are certainly the cause of all your problems right now. If there was ever a clarion call to remove your ass from the seat and go vote in 2020,
preach.
This is it.
Preach. Preach. Dan Bongino, preach. He said it, ladies and gentlemen, and he's so right. There is no perfect party, and there are no perfect people in this country. The Republicans are not the fix-all for everything. They are not the fix-all for your problems. Democrats, however, are the cause of all your problems. Dan Bongino dropping 2 S-bombs there on Fox News, uncensored, and they went in. They went in. Hunter Biden walks free to smoke crack and have sex on camera. Hillary Clinton walks free. Hillary Clinton destroyed classified materials. We know this. Where was the FBI raid? The FBI actually let her off the hook. Steve Bannon had this to say about this exact issue and was, honestly, I think possibly the best interview on this subject to date. I believe this is the Bannon clip. Steve Bannon, ladies and gentlemen, is enraged. He called in to Will Cain, who is guest hosting for Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson is out this week on vacation, a much-deserved vacation. We are deeply, abidingly sad that Tucker Carlson is out for this. However, we look forward to his return. Will Cain is doing an admirable job filling in for Tucker and had Steve Bannon on and is having just an absolute bombshell show. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen, Steve Bannon talking about his old boss, and might I say one of the very real reasons that Donald Trump got into the Oval Office is Steve Bannon. One of the very real reasons that Donald Trump got into the White House is because Steve Bannon was the campaign manager through the end of the election and the strategist who changed Trump's tune and made the election all about Hillary Clinton and all about Hillary Clinton's known crimes to the American people. Steve Bannon was losing his mind and said that this order came from the top of the top, and that Joe Biden, there is a massive cover-up going on right now, and Joe Biden is part of it, and that this is going to bring down the machine, and that this is going to bring down the Leviathan, ladies and gentlemen. This is how the machine finally breaks. The hubris and the addiction to power ends with this raid. The American people will never forget it. Steve Bannon giving a incredible call, ladies and gentlemen, to patriots in this country to stand up.
And he's the former White House chief strategist. He has been targeted relentlessly by the January 6th committee. He joins us now by phone to react to news of the FBI raid on Mar-a-Lago. Steve, happy to have you on the program, have you by phone here tonight. What's your immediate reaction?
Well, I gave the keynote address at the Cattlemen's Vault CPAC on Friday night. I said, we're at war. We're at a political and ideological war. And they've obviously weaponized the Justice Department. And this had to be approved by Ron Klain. This had to go up to the White House to be approved. Absolutely.
Yes.
Anybody saying it didn't is a liar. This had to go to Cheney Grant, to Merrick Garland, to Ron Klain at least. And we're going to say, so look, here's the thing. This is about pure power politics. They're absolutely scared to death about Trump. It can't be Mar-a-Lago, the guy who laid out the entire effort to steal the 2020 election or the transition period project. He's tweeting right now all the U.S. code about documents, and they can have, make sure you can't run for federal office again. They're absolutely petrified Trump's going to announce in the next couple of weeks, win the Republican nomination, win the White House. Now, here's what's incumbent upon everyone. The House leaders right now need to step up and recommit Jim Jordan. Full investigation, I think cutting off appropriations to the FBI to get to the bottom of this. Okay, this is going to continue on. The FBI right now is the Gestapo. The FBI is the Gestapo, whether it's out in Colorado, putting a Gold Star model like Tina Peters in chains, Peter Navarro in chains. Absolutely obscene. This is an obscenity. And we're going to have to fight fire with fire. The way to do it is win election, win them overwhelmingly, and then use the appropriations process to choke down the FBI, to choke down the Justice Department, and get to the bottom of who approved this. This is so outrageous. It needs to be investigated.
I want to ask you this question, Steve. I'm familiar with your point of view. I'm familiar with the opinions you share on the war room. I'm familiar with how deep you fear the corruption has run within the United States of America. I'm curious. I said this earlier in the program. Believing elections can change the place in which we sit today in the United States of America is a very optimistic point of view, because this corruption, if it is partisan corruption, isn't relegated to the FBI. We saw 87,000 new IRS agents have been hired. You can look at almost any federal institution, including the intelligence community, who dismissed Hunter Biden's laptop as disinformation. And you can say to yourself, this isn't one apparatus. This is not one department. This is not one election. Our problem is deeper.
Well, you're 100% correct. This is not about corruption. That's not correct. This is about the administrative state. This is about an undemocratic apparatus, bigger than bureaucracy. This is the administrative state, and they want to run things their own way. And they want to pick and choose who actually runs and who actually wins. This is why it's incumbent upon, look, we have 2/3 of the nation who back us. Hispanics, African Americans, Asian Americans. It's now time to take control of the House of Representatives with an overwhelming victory, and then act like we need. Right. Jim Jordan's and people have to step up, and Kevin McCarthy have to step up and say, we're going to have full investigations, we're going to choke them down appropriations. Listen, this is a non-democratic. Yes, go ahead.
I hate to cut you off, Steve. We have more information coming in.
So this was Steve Bannon's hit on Fox. Steve Bannon saying this is a political hit job is exactly what we've heard from Team Trump. When we called Team Trump, they were saying they are desperate. This is a move out of panic. This is a move out of sheer terror from the regime and the administrative state. The machine is scared. It's scared right now. It's shaking. And this is the call, ladies and gentlemen. The Leviathan has now awakened. If they can do this to Donald Trump, they can do it for you, to you. Remember Donald Trump's tweet before they took him off social media. They're coming after you. I'm just in the way. And that's true. And this is absolutely empirically and demonstrably proven true in this moment. The National Archives could have asked Trump for his files. They could have said, hey, why don't you go ahead and give us what we want? Nope. In reality, they're not after me. They're after you. I'm just in the way. That's the meme right there that Donald Trump shared on Twitter before he got banned. Another thing that the machine attempted to do to Donald Trump in order to destroy him. And now you see federal agents storming Mar-a-Lago. What did Lara Trump have to say about it? Lara Trump is the daughter-in-law of Donald Trump, married to Eric Trump. Lara Trump obviously is very involved in the Trump businesses. Lara Trump is a spectacular person. She's incredible. We encourage you, if you're not already following her on social media, to follow along. Unlike some of the other spouses and people in the Trump orbit, she is highly involved. In fact, many people were thinking she may run for Senate in North Carolina. She decided not to do that. She probably would have won. Lara Trump is an absolute bombshell and a really spectacular and wonderful person. They ended up Eric and Laura sent us a bottle of Trump champagne when we had our second daughter. They're really nice people. Lara Trump, of course, is somebody who has seen the slings and arrows of the left. They come after her, attack her, her children, her family, all of the time, even though they have a wonderful family and a beautiful marriage. Lara Trump had this to say about the raid that happened to her father-in-law and her family's home. Again, Mar-a-Lago is a private residence. It is listed as Donald Trump's home here in Florida. And then as soon as I play this, and you can hear from Lara Trump, most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, what is the Republican response? If your Republican representative is not disavowing this raid and declaring to you that they are ready to take on the administrative state and to strip mine it and to break the machine, then you do not have a Republican representative. You have a emissary of the uniparty that represents you. You have someone with low T energy. You should think, ladies and gentlemen, maybe about voting for someone against them in the primary. And also breaking news, Joe Kent has won his primary. Did you know this? This is also breaking news, probably what our live would have been about tonight if we hadn't had this breaking news. Joe Kent in Washington wins his primary against the impeachment voting Jamie Herrera Butler. So a beautiful thing there. Okay, moving on. Lara Trump, what did she have to say about the raiding of her home and her father-in-law's house in a political witch hunt designed by the Biden administration in order to stop Donald Trump from running? A preemptive coup, you may call it.
And boxes without going through them on the property. So immediately left the property with those boxes. The source said the agents took the documents to go through later once they left Mar-a-Lago. The source told Fox News, quote, they were not being judicious about what they took. Lara Trump, as promised, a member of the Trump family and former senior advisor to Donald Trump, joins us now. Lara, thank you for being on the program with us tonight. I'll just start with this. Have you spoken to the former president? How is he doing? What is the attitude of the family?
I have spoken to my father-in-law, and I got to tell you, he's as shocked as anybody. I think for someone and anyone, quite frankly, who loves this country and believes in America, this should shake you to your core.
Yes.
What has happened today? This is a very clear demarcation in the history of
Yes.
America. Never before, as many of your guests have already talked about, Will, have we seen something like this happen, where an unannounced raid by the FBI is conducted on a former president of the United States. Think about this. If this is what they're able to do to the former president of the United States, think about what they could do to you, to anybody in America. The bottom line here is that these documents that have been in question everybody's been cooperating. Everybody from my father-in-law's team has been with any authority that asked for anything up until now, and there was no need to make such a big scene, to do something this insane, quite frankly, to a former president. But I think everybody clearly knows, Will, what is going on here. This is about weaponizing the justice system, as it has been so many times in the past, against somebody who you politically do not like. They detest Donald Trump, not just on the Democrat side, but the general establishment, because he's not one of them, because he doesn't play their game. They are terrified he's going to announce any day that he's running for president in 2024. And this is a very convenient way to just throw a little more mud on Donald Trump, as though they haven't already done enough. This is the same agency, don't forget, the FBI, who, had falsified documents to get FISA warrants to, conduct this entire sham Russia hoax that the country had to deal with for 2 years, millions of taxpayer dollars and our time that we'll never get back to find what? Absolutely nothing. They've been trying to shove January 6th down everybody's throat in an effort to get people to care about that and think that's the most important thing in the world. That hasn't worked for them yet. So here they are, heading into a midterm and heading into a presidential election season coming up, where they know they have no hope on the Democrat side. They have nothing positive to show that they've done for the American people. So what do? You try to take out a guy who hasn't even announced that he's running yet, but they're terrified of him on the Democrat side for sure. And I'm going to say it again, in the general establishment.
Laura, you've spoken to your father-in-law, therefore you have the most immediate information of anybody we've spoken with tonight. Does he know, do you know why his home was raided?
He believes it's the documents in question that, everybody's been really upset about from the White House. Look, my father-in-law, as anybody knows who's been around him a lot, loves to say things like newspaper clippings, magazine clippings, photographs, documents that he had every authority to take from the White House. And, again, he's been cooperating every single step of the way with the people that have questioned any of this. And I know people have brought it up before, but, look at Hillary Clinton, the 33,000 emails that she just that are completely gone and nobody bats an eyelash about it. Donald Trump takes some documents that he had every right to take, that every president does, didn't take antiques, like Hillary Clinton took out of the White House and paintings, apparently. But that is what he believes, and that's what, I think is at the bottom of all this, and the reason that they raided Mar-a-Lago, quite frankly.
All right. Always good to talk to you. Thanks for giving us that firsthand perspective from inside the family tonight.
Savage Lara Trump.
Bannon has experienced the weaponization of the justice system.
Savage Lara Trump going in saying that Hillary Clinton took far more than Donald Trump ever took. Hillary Clinton took antiques. They took the silverware. Remember this. The Clintons essentially strip mined the White House and took everything that they could, including Abraham Lincoln's ghost. They could pry him out. It's really sickening. Also, Hillary Clinton took and destroyed classified documents on multiple phones. They admitted to it. Not only was Hillary not raided by the FBI, she was protected by the FBI. James Comey gave her a slap on the wrist, decided to not indict her, decided to not charge her. And then also, as Tom Fitton notes on Twitter, you all know Tom Fitton with Judicial Watch, a spectacular person. Maybe we'll have him on the show tomorrow. We'll reach out to Tom and see if we can get him on an interview. Judicial Watch found these documents in Washington, D.C., and took the Clintons to court over these documents, and the D.C. Circuit Court allowed Hillary Clinton to not be subpoenaed for this, which is very rare in any circumstance. They protected Hillary Clinton, said that she did not have to testify under oath, and she did not even have to be subpoenaed. So in case you're wondering what this is, it is the rage of the machine. The machine is protecting itself. The machine sees Donald Trump as its number one existential threat, and so they are attempting a preemptive coup on Donald Trump. This is the fourth turning. Every single cycle of 20 and 30 years inside of every single major time span in history has times of peace, times of growth, times of destruction, and times of turmoil that eventually lead to times of peace, and the cycle repeats itself. The fourth turning, time and time again, the fourth turning is the time of destruction. This is the time that we are living in right now. If you were to essentially start the clock at the turn of the century, the 21st century, the year 1900, and you were to start that clock and you were to see wartime escalate, the time of war, and then the time of peace, and now we are back, ladies and gentlemen, in the fourth turning. This is a absolutely, I think, empirically important thing to understand, because what is happening is that war is being waged by the administrative state on the American people. This is what you were seeing. Peter Navarro is being taken in chains. Steve Bannon is being found guilty. They have MAGA supporters locked up in Washington, D.C., still in the penitentiary, haven't been charged. These people are rotting as political prisoners in jail. They have criminalized an entire political movement, 100 million Americans strong, and there's going to be more after this. People are going to see this, and they're going to say, wait a second. I didn't like Barack Obama, but I never wanted his house to be raided. Would you have wanted Barack Obama's house to be raided by Donald Trump and Donald Trump's Department of Justice? I mean, it would be a disgusting abuse of power, you would say. And I think that most people would say, well, wait a second. This is America. We don't do that. This is not some type of dictatorship. This is not some type of failed state, failed police state. Precisely what it has become, a federal police state prison camp. That is what the country is quickly and rapidly turning into. And the only way to change that trajectory is to vote. It is why we are keeping an eye on Republicans who may want our vote and saying, hey, what are they saying about this? The first Republican of note, Governor Noem, Kristi Noem from South Dakota. Of course, you know her. She's a rock star. She's a very, very cool person. Kristi Noem is rock solid. Rock solid. She got in a tiff with Tucker a little while back. That's okay. Whatever. Things happen. And I think she's been very good. I think Kristi Noem's been very good. The tiff with Tucker was over her vetoing a transgender bill. Women in sport, women and boys in sports, women play women's sports, boys play boys sports. I think that they were able to come to a consensus on that and everyone was able to move on. Anyway, if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. Governor Noem issues a statement on FBI raid President Donald Trump's home. She was the first notable Republican to do so. Today, following the FBI's raid on former President Donald J. Trump's home, Kristi Noem issued the following statement. The FBI raid on the President Trump's home is unprecedented political weaponization of the Justice Department. They've been after President Trump as a candidate, as president, and now as former president, using the criminal justice system in a manner that is un-American. Boom. Ron DeSantis also had a statement. Can we pull that, guys? Can we pull the Ron DeSantis statement? Because I'm seeing in the comment section a lot of people saying, hey, what has DeSantis said? Who's coming to the defense of Donald Trump? You will know who's on your side. And if you are represented by a Republican, if they disavow the administrative state, the police state, and their Gestapo fascistic tactics right now, these are fascistic tactics. You will know who is on your side. And we just want to say thank you very much for being on our side. We have 20,000 people watching this, more than 20,000 people watching this live concurrently over multiple platforms. And so we want to say thank you to those of you watching on Rumble. God bless all of you. Over 7,000 on Rumble, over 10, 12, and 13,000 on Facebook, and 2,000 on YouTube. We just want to say thank you to all of you. We do this show for free. We do this show, obviously, like we don't have any corporate sponsors. What do we got here? We're really proud of the partnerships that we have. We are doing this as we are not, there's no strings attached is what I'm trying to say here. We do this independently because it's so important to be able to say independent things now more than ever. And so we've built the show from the ground up. If you want to support us, please click like on our page. That's all we'll ever ask. That's all we'll ever ask. Times are tough right now. People can barely afford gas and groceries. Joe Biden, Brandon's destroying America, crashing our economy like he crashes his bike, like he crashes down the stairs when he falls down them. We don't ask for anything other than please click like on our page. Please follow along. If you support us, that means the world. If you comment, awesome. Thank you. And most importantly, if you could follow our podcast, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, we're on all of them. If you could follow The Benny Show, then you can get our content, exclusives, big time stuff we have coming up. Tomorrow, we will be doing a live Q&A with Carrie Lake. Carrie Lake is coming on the program. She's going to be on the program live for an hour, and we will only use your comments. Only. I see the comment section melting down right now. We will only use your comments. Carrie Lake, we will conduct an entire interview. I don't think this has ever been done before. We will conduct an entire interview with Carrie Lake using only your comments. Okay? So it'll be you. You'll see your avatar on the screen. You'll see your name on the screen. We'll read your questions live. And you'll see your comment up on the screen, and that's how we'll conduct our interview with Carrie Lake. The reason why is because this audience we are building here is based on the people. It's based on our movement. It's based on us. All of us together. We are a movement. We're a movement of happy people. We're a movement of joyous people. They're a movement of nasty, horrible fascists. This is a fascistic tactic that they are using against Donald Trump right now. I just want to thank you all for watching. I just want to say deeply from the bottom of our hearts, we appreciate you. We do this show for you. Please join us tomorrow when Carrie Lake will take your comments. Not a single question from me. I'll say hello, and then we'll put your face and your name and your comment there, and we will only ask Carrie Lake your questions. First show in history, I think, to ever do that. An entire interview, hour long, run by you. Ask her whatever you want. We'll say it. I mean, you can't ask her whatever you want. You can't put naughty words on screen, but if it's appropriate, we will get it up on screen and we will ask Carrie Lake, the hottest politician in America right now, bringing her to you tomorrow. The raid of Mar-a-Lago, says Ron DeSantis. Here's Ron DeSantis' tweet. The raid of Mar-a-Lago is another escalation in the weaponization of federal agencies against the regime's political opponents. While people like Hunter Biden get treated with kid gloves, now the regime is getting another 87,000 IRS agents to wield against its adversaries. Banana Republic. Ron DeSantis coming through with the sledgehammer, smashing the regime. Now the regime is getting another 87,000. Notice this language, the regime. He listens. Ron DeSantis listens, ladies and gentlemen. The regime. Here we go. Banana Republic, he calls it. He says this is injustice. Ron DeSantis coming in hard. ALX, and shout out to our incredible producer, ALX, who keeps us posted on all of the important updates. And again, this is a breaking story. This is happening right now. This is happening in real time. Donald Trump predicting this would happen. If you were watching 2 weeks ago, Donald Trump straight up said this is what was going to happen. Donald Trump said they're going to get worse. It's going to get worse. The persecution of me is going to get worse. Does this make you support Donald Trump more or less? Let us know in the comment section. Does this make you support Donald Trump more or less? Are you more in favor of Donald Trump running to break up the administrative state with Schedule F, or are you less in favor of it? We want to know. Let us know. Looking at the comments right now. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Donald Trump predicting that this would happen. And then ALX, could you please pull some more notable Republicans and what they're saying about this? I want to see what McCarthy said. I doubt McConnell said anything. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert. I want to be able to give shout outs to the Republicans who are defending President Trump on this horrific issue. Because if they're not defending President Trump, they're not going to defend you. I can guarantee you of that.
The fake news media is totally complicit in this whole deal. And if I renounced my beliefs, if I agreed to stay silent, if I stayed home, if I announced that I was not going to run for office, the persecution of Donald Trump would immediately stop. We know that. Everybody knows that. But that's what they want me to do. And you know what? There's no chance I do that. There's just no chance I do that. I can't do that.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump saying that the reason they are persecuting me is because I am a threat to them. The reason they're persecuting me is because they are coming after me and they're coming after you. I am merely standing in the way. Here we go. Speaking of standing in the way, who will fight? Who will fight? Here we go. Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy on Truth Social. Coming in hot. Here's what he says. I've seen enough. The Justice Department has reached an intolerable state of weaponized politicization. When Republicans take back the House, we will conduct immediate oversight of this department. Follow the facts, leave no stone unturned. Attorney General Garland, preserve your documents and clear your calendar. Guys, you got to hand it to them. You got to hand it to them. When they get it right, get it right. This is Kevin McCarthy coming in hot, saying he's seen enough and that he is going to drag Merrick Garland in before the House committees and new rules, by the way. If Merrick Garland refuses to cooperate with the committee, well, then you just throw him in jail. You just refer that directly to the DOJ for criminal prosecution, and the DOJ is going to have to, I don't know, he's in charge of the DOJ. What are they going to have to do? You're going to have to get recusal until somebody just says, yeah, we're going to have to throw him in jail. You send it to a jury. You send it to a jury and you say, hey, listen, this is it's called the Bannon rule now. Hey, man, you live by the sword, you die by the sword is the words of Jesus Christ. Ronnie Jackson, the former White House doctor, who is spectacular and an absolute and total patriot. Been on the Newsmax show a few times. Wake up. Joe Biden is using the FBI to go after President Trump. Are you kidding me? Democrats are voting to double the size of the IRS so they can come after you for more of your hard-earned paycheck. Is this the Soviet Union or communist China? They must be stopped. Ronnie Jackson is a congressman from Texas now. He used to be the White House doctor. He's the man who's been calling for Joe Biden to have cognitive tests. He's been going bananas, banana republic, literally, but going bananas on this, demanding that Joe Biden get cognitive tests. This is a guy who's so close with Barack Obama. I mean, he's a Republican, but so close with Barack Obama. Barack Obama and him, like, we're exchanging emails. Barack Obama was pissed at him when he said that Joe Biden needed to get a cognitive test. By the way, ALX, can we get Joe Biden falling down, nearly falling down because of his jacket today? You got to see this clip. Joe Biden couldn't get his jacket on and struggled getting his jacket on outside of Marine One while the Marines are standing there for like 60 straight seconds. 25th Amendment. Carrie Lake, of course, coming in strong. Let's go. Carrie Lake's statement in part. Carrie Lake says this on the raiding of Mar-a-Lago. This is one of the darkest days in American history. The day our government, originally created by the people, turned against us. It's a legitimate corrupt regime, hates America, and has weaponized the entirety of the federal government to take down President Trump. Our government is rotted to the core. God, I love Carrie Lake. She's going to be on the show live tomorrow, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Carrie Lake live. Only your questions. Your face, your avatar, your name. So make sure you're writing, the questions you want to be projected on screen for everyone to see. Will be on screen. We will put your comments on the screen and we will ask Carrie Lake your questions tomorrow. We will not accept it, Carrie says. The 10th Amendment can and will save our republic, and the road to stripping the feds of power travels right through Arizona. We must fire the federal government. As your governor, I will fight these tyrants with every fiber of my being. America, dark days lie ahead of us. May God protect us and save our country. Way to go, Carrie Lake. What a great comment. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, as always, just coming in hot. Defund the FBI. Defund the FBI. Marjorie Taylor Greene, defund the FBI. Gumming in strong. I'm not saying that is a comprehensive list of everyone who has defended Donald Trump in this, but it is a good, solid list. Now, outside of Mar-a-Lago, Trump supporters have flocked to Mar-a-Lago to defend President Trump. This is breaking news. This is a breaking shot. It's nighttime right now in Florida. This is happening right now. Somebody filmed this and sent it to us. A breaking shot of Trump supporters now surrounding Mar-a-Lago in support of President Trump. 100 million people support President Trump. 100 million people in a country of 300 million people support President Trump, and maybe many more. All right, shorter clip. These are this is like a Trump parade. This is the area where Trump boat parades regularly originate. They're in Jupiter, Florida. There's a lot of Trump boat parades just up the road. This is like the land of Trump boat parades and Trump caravans. When Donald Trump actually left Washington, D.C., he went down to Florida and he flew down to Florida, and he was met with like miles of supporters. Wherever Trump goes, he's met with miles of supporters. And wherever Joe Biden goes, he's met with people screaming, "Let's go, Bannon," in his face, especially as it pertains to blue states. We've shown you the videos. Joe Biden went to Connecticut. Joe Biden went to Massachusetts. Joe Biden went to Delaware. Joe Biden went to California. And everywhere he goes, there are masses of people lining the road saying, "Let's go, Bannon." Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Biden. Maybe this is why they say, "Let's go, Bannon." Here's Joe Biden, the man who's supposed to be in charge of, multiple wars right now, and the Ukraine crisis, and the crisis at the border, the crisis with our currency, the crashing crypto markets, the crashing stock markets. Here is Joe Biden, who's allegedly in charge, not being able to get a handle on his own jacket. Oh my God. It's more painful. I actually saw just the first part of this clip. It's actually more painful. It's the first time I ever watched the whole clip through. Like saw the first part of the clip. Oh my heavens. Oh dear God. It is painful to see. Painful. What isn't painful, ladies and gentlemen, is what's going to happen when you see hundreds of thousands and millions of patriots unite because they are sick of this man. They are sick of the authoritative state running. Whoops. Lost my light there. Got a little light here that shines and gets rid of the shadows. We are sick. And we're doing it live. I told you, stick with us. We're doing it live. They are sick of the people who are here, rotted to the core, the diseased temple, the people who are here to strip us and rob us of our rights as American citizens and to strip us and rob us of our birthright, most importantly. And our birthright in this country is to live unmolested and unencumbered by the federal government that allows us to live inside of 50 states that are laboratories of democracy. Federalism being the supreme reigning ideology of the original Constitution and the founding of this country, to strip and to neuter and to castrate the federal government, because the founders knew what it was like to live under an oppressive regime. They knew what it was like to live under low-functioning oligarchs. I'm just going to play it again. Here you go. No sound on the clip. You can just watch again. The founders knew what it was like to have people like this. King George, also a man who had mental disabilities. King George III, also a man who later in life, it was proven, didn't have any mental faculties, you might say. So the founders knew what it was like to be led by somebody like this, a total and complete buffoon. And to have a man, look at his glasses falling off his face. There they go. They knew. And so they knew that people like that could take power. If everything went wrong, people like Joe Biden could take power. And so they wanted to castrate the federal government, to not have the power to harass their political opponents, to crush dissent, and to harm American citizens, and give the American citizens the power to remove these people at any time. And that is what we must get about the business of doing, ladies and gentlemen. We must get about the business of removing through impeachment, the 25th Amendment. That would have to be Biden's cabinet, but hey, go for it. Through the impeachment mechanisms that Congress holds, or through the election mechanisms that will come in November, a mere 90 days away. You are 90 days away. And you're like, I think we're like 5 days away from Liz Cheney losing her primary. So be joyous. There's a chip on our shoulder. Keep that chip on your shoulder. Make sure that you are ready for the fight to come, but be joyous about it and be a happy warrior. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, that nothing has ever and can ever defeat a group of Americans who want freedom. Nothing ever has defeated that. And we now see very clearly and are awake. The Leviathan sleeps no longer. We are awake to the true threat to this country. The true threat to this country are fascists, leftists, fascists who want their 1917 Marxist revolution to happen here, and they're making their move right now. Will you help me stop them? We must, and we will. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been going live an hour now. That's all the information that we know at this point. We've kept you updated. This is what we know. We say to you, God bless you. If you enjoyed or appreciated this broadcast, please do us a huge favor by liking our page. Please do us a huge favor by following our podcast. The links are in the descriptions. And if you don't like what you heard today, well, we thank you for listening this long. We are here to save America. We support God, family, country. Those are the things that motivate us. We're free men and women, and we're going to stay that way. We're going to stay that way by creating a movement and by marching forward and by saying, no, no. That's all history has ever needed, is patriots and Americans to say no. And that's what we're going to say. God bless Donald Trump. Pray for Donald Trump and his family tonight. They are the people who have absorbed the slings and arrows of this evil regime more than anyone who's ever lived in American history. And I think this will be, I believe, the undoing of that regime. I think they won't recover from this. They will not recover from this. So pray for that tonight, ladies and gentlemen, if you are a believer. And we will see. We will see what happens next. And we'll be covering it here on The Benny Show. God bless you. Have a great night.